Learn Persian with Chai and Conversation, Growing Up Irooni interview with Tara Grammy. Tara Jun, salam.
سلام لیلا جون قربونت برم.
Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. This is a long time coming, Leyla.
It is a long time coming, but I'm glad because we've built it up. We have things to talk about. There's things going on that we can. It's not just going to be your normal "How did you grow up? What did you do?" type of interview. We come with a good backlog of things to talk about.
We really do. This is going to be an 18-hour episode. I hope everyone.
I've blocked off my time. I hope everyone has too.
Yeah.
Tara Jun, first, can you introduce yourself? If anyone, I heard that there was a spin class that you went to that maybe not everybody in that spin class knew who you were. I'm sure that that's not going to be our audience, but just in case, can you introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
Hi, I'm Tara Grammy, or get on me if you want to be correct. I am an actor. I don't know. I consider myself primarily an actor, but I do all kinds of things. I've written things. I've produced a lot. I produce more than I act. And I'm just like a good weirdo. I think that's a good way to introduce me. I'm a super weird guy. And pretty much everything I do is for the Iranian diaspora. That's kind of my audience, and for Iranians in Iran as well, but most of my work has been centered on the Iranian diaspora.
Yeah. So some of the more high profile things that you might have seen Tara in, which is where I first saw you, was like you did Persia's Got Talent with Nazanin Noor. You did A Simple Wedding with Maz Jobrani and Shohr Akhdashlu, of course, and a lot of amazing actors that we all know and love. So there have been some high profile things. And then you also, can you start with telling us about your one woman show that you did in Canada?
Wow.
That was kind of your start, is that right? And then we'll go back even further.
Oh my God, throwback. Yeah, I wrote this one woman show called Mahmoud. It was a play. We call it a one woman show, but really it's a play. 3 people could play the different characters. And it was developed kind of in my final years of college. I went to the University of Toronto and I studied theater. And it became a really big hit because this is very random, but Woody Harrelson was in Toronto and he saw the show. Do you know the story? You don't even know the story.
No.
Oh my God, it's such a good story. So we started a little theater company when we finished school, my friends and I, when we were finishing the theater program. And we decided to put on this show that my partner and I had developed at the time. And it was, it's a long story. But anyway, we got a little bit of funding and we rented out a theater and we started to put it on. And it was just our friends and family who would come and like local, whatever people would come. It was a 100-seat theater. We sold out we sold like 20 of the seats, 50 of the seats every night. And one night, Woody Harrelson was in town and he had met my friend, was his waitress at a restaurant he went to. And anyway, long story short, he ended up coming to see my play that night. And the next night, he bought out the theater and brought everyone he knew.
What?
Yeah. And he wrote me a recommendation letter that got me my visa to come to the US.
What? You came to the US because of Woody Harrelson?
Yeah. Woody Harrelson changed my life.
Oh my gosh. So are you still in touch with him?
No, we lost touch. I mean, we were for a few years because
Wow.
he was so kind to me. I was 22 years old.
What an incredible thing to do. Yeah. So did you know he was in the audience at the time?
Okay, so this is a story. I had no idea. So I bowed and I thought I had a really bad show. And my mom came running backstage and she was like, Tara, the guy, he's here from the show, the funny one, Kachal, he's bald, and you know, the funny guy. And I'm like, Jason Alexander from Seinfeld? Like, who are you? Like, what are you talking about, Mom? Who's like, nah, the funny one, the bald. I had no idea what she was talking about because I don't think of Woody Harrelson. I think of Woody Harrelson as Natural Born
Right.
Killers. I don't
Right.
think of him as fierce, right?
Okay, okay.
So she was just like, "Pia, pia, lepas satu bebus pia," like quick. I'm like, okay, and I go and it's Woody Harrelson, and I was just like,
What?
hey, thanks for coming to my show.
That's wild. What a
Wild.
story.
What a story. Isn't that
And
crazy?
yeah, no, I had no idea. That's a really good story. But take us back even further now and tell me, so first of all, you were born in Iran. Tell me your life story a bit.
Okay, Leyla Jean.
And okay, but specifically because what led you to create that one woman show? Like what led you up to that moment?
So I was born in Iran, and then we left when I was 2, and then we went back, and then we left again when I was 6. So I had kind of an all over the place upbringing. But really, we left when I was 6, but then every summer, because I'm very close to my grandparents, and my dad was in Iran, so we would go back and forth, every summer. I've spent most of my summers in Iran growing up. And so I really had that, the dual identity we talk about a lot, which is, I was never really Canadian in Canada, never really Iranian in Iran. And then then the green movement happened when I was in my 20s and early 20s, and, I really felt helpless, and it was the first time that my mom was like, "Please don't go back this summer, like, I don't want you to go," and I'd never felt that helpless watching the country. It was really the first time I came face to face with the situation in Iran because like a lot of Iranians that went back and forth, like, I had such a good experience of being in Iran. I was just with my family the whole time. We went to parties, we drank. Like
Right.
I I never had an experience that was negative, you know?
Right. Yeah.
But then, you grow up with that sense of and I wrote an article about it for Harper's Bazaar a few years ago, called, I think it was called something like Joy is Rebellion or something, because that was my experience of going to Iran. It was joyful. But then in 2009, with that election, everything changed. So that's when we decided to develop a play, and, it was a conversation between me and a cab driver. That's how it started. It was just me at the age of 21 or however old I was, talking to my cab driver who was in his 50s, who, had fled Iran, and had fled Iran, and anyway, it was about different generations of immigrants and our experiences of being Iranian and our different viewpoints of being Iranian and of Iran itself.
Yeah, it's interesting you say this because, like, I think that that's kind of come to a forefront this past few years. Like, those of us that similar to you, like, left when I was 4. So my experience of going back, I didn't have to experience like the bureaucracy. And yeah, the hijab was pretty inconvenient, but the joy that came from being there was just so immense. And like like I remember there was one night where we went to a park. There's all these amazing parks in Tehran. And I was in my 20s when I went. And I also, similar to you, like I would go back every summer and I'd just go myself and just have so much fun. And in the sense of like urbanism and family that was in Tehran versus like I grew up in Dallas suburbs. It was just such a stark contrast. So I was in the park with all these young people and they were playing music and just dancing in the park, right? And then it was like midnight or something, and then some police came by and they were like, "Okay, you got to stop like making all this noise." This is pre-Ahmadinejad, so things were a little bit looser. But they came and they were like, "Okay, enough noise, like it's too loud." And then everyone started complaining and they were like, if we were anywhere else, like police wouldn't come stop us from singing and dancing in the park at midnight. Like it's Iran sucks, da da da. And I was like, uh, like first of all, there are like no parks where people are singing and dancing at any hour where I'm from, nowhere. And then like midnight, like there's noise ordinances everywhere at 10 o'clock where a police would come and be like, okay, noise ordinance. So that was my experience where I was like, what is like, we're still so joyful here despite everything. But that was our experience from like going back and like not having to deal with it all the time and not having like the negative repercussions of like I hadn't had any run-ins with the morality police or whatever.
Exactly. And we went home. We went back home
Yes.
to a
Right.
different world, to a different school, to a different system. The oppression was not part of our everyday life. We just got glimpses
Exactly.
of it. And our families, I think my experience, I like that I'm speaking for you. Our families, your family and my family, would make it so special and fun and
Right.
erase the hard parts of it, you know?
Yes. Yes.
So I think, it's a very lucky way to grow up. I feel very
Right.
blessed and especially lucky that I got to have both experiences as a kid.
Right. So after this play, like, was all of your experience always in this diaspora world? Like, did you always know that that's what you wanted to be a part of? Or have you done things that were like purely, American or Canadian? Yeah. What's your experience been?
I fought it for a long time. I made Mahmoud and it kind of put me in the Iranian community. I didn't really have Iranian friends growing up, except for my friends in Iran. Um, I didn't really like the diaspora, to be honest with you. I never really related to the diaspora. I was raised a little differently than them. I just didn't like other Iranians growing up, to be honest. Like, and it's hard to say that now because I'm so immersed in all of my friends are Iranian, but growing up, I have that experience. And um, yeah, I didn't like any of the Iranian content that there was. It was cheesy. It was for an older generation. It wasn't made for me. I didn't have a Chayan conversation to listen to. That wasn't my experience at all. It was like whatever Tapish TV, and it was just like not my vibe.
Right.
Um, and I fought it and I fought it and I fought it, and it was really hard being I mean, I'm an actor and trying to get jobs here, and it's hard, you know. And then I started to meet like kindred spirits. I met Sarah Zandia, who was writing this movie, and I read the script, and I'm like, I have to be in this movie. I basically bullied her into putting me in the movie. Like I like every day, like just inserted myself, and I was like, let's just make it. Like let's just figure it out. Like we'll get funding somehow, and we'll figure it out. And we did it, and it was just so cool, and that was such an amazing experience, and that kinda changed my vibe too. I was like, "Okay, there are people like me who wanna make cool stuff for the diaspora," and then I met Shayan Ebrahim, and I was like, "Oh my god, another cool person who wants to make." So we made the Manija series, and we made My Immigrant Family, and, it was about finding like-minded people who were interested in a more progressive and, youthful outlook on the diaspora to really, like, get me as deep in as I am now. And then Persia's Got Talent happened, and I was like, "Okay, well, maybe these guys are cool too." And they were, and it was an incredible experience. So, I've been really lucky and also really poru because I just started making my own stuff that I'd wanna watch.
Yes, yeah, and you and I were talking yesterday, I think that's a big part of, uh I mean, Chai Conversation is the same, it was like, no one's gonna come and save us, like, no one is making Persian language things the way I want, no one is making kids programming the way I want, no one's and every year that goes by, it's just like, "Okay, I guess I have to do this one. Okay, guess I'm gonna do this one." And I feel like you've had that same trajectory. There's been a lot of us that have had that same trajectory, and I feel like one thing that's happened with this woman life freedom movement is that we've kind of found each other, and we're, like, all talking and just being like, "Oh, you've been feeling this way? Like, you grew up without Iranian friends, you grew up, like, feeling left out and this and that. Okay, weirdo, found you."
Yeah, totally, we're like a little band of us, and we're so lucky to have found each other. And
Completely.
it's hard out there on the internet because there are some crazy people out there. There are some crazy kooky people out there, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of hate too, but I think when you find the like-minded people, like the little community, it makes it easier to face it all.
Right. So then when you were growing up, so you were speaking Persian fluently, you were speaking English fluently. Was there any time that you like rebelled against that, like being Iranian? Like, how did you feel in school?
Oh, I was Italian until Canada is such a cool place because my experience of being Canadian in the 90s, um, was so cool because my class was so multicultural.
Right.
I never felt like an outsider. That just wasn't my experience growing up in Canada at all. Everyone was an outsider, you know? When there are enough outsiders, you kinda become insiders. So, I still wanted to be white, I still wanted to be blonde, hence, my current hair. Um, I still, like, hated my nose and my hairy face and back, um, but I didn't feel like an outsider. I didn't feel cool, but I didn't feel like an outsider. And then we moved to Germany for a few years when I was a teenager. And that was when I really was like, "Oh, this is racism. Oh, this is what it feels like to be an outsider."
Really? What was it
Yes.
like?
Oh, the worst. The worst.
Like they were outwardly racist?
My first day, or maybe like it was like within my first week of school, and I went to a British private school. Shout out St. George's School in Cologne, Germany. Um, I think it still exists. It might not. I don't. Um, my first week, a guy came up to me and I was 13 and he was like, and you know, there's a long standing racism against the Turkish community in by the Germans.
Right.
And I didn't know. So this guy, he came up to me and he's like, "Hey, do you work at a kebab shop?" And I was like, "Huh? I'm 13. Could I work at a kebab shop? I just moved here from Canada. What are you talking about?" And he was like, "No, no, are you sure you don't work at a kebab shop? That kebab shop down the street, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not me. Pretty 100% sure it's not me." And like I didn't get it. I was so dumb that I was like, "Huh?" And he was like, "I don't know, because you just like you look like all of the girls that work in kebab shops. So I thought maybe you were the one that I know." And I went, "That's so interesting because you look like Hitler's Nazi youth." And then I got into trouble for saying Nazi.
Oh. Oh,
Anyway,
wow.
that was my experience, and they continue to be like that. It's a very but I was really lucky, my best friend, who's still my best friend, Dominique, it was Brazilian, and her family and my family were like this, so
Wow.
I was lucky to always find my people, but I definitely felt like an outsider living in Germany.
Wow. And then what was your experience with like the Iranian culture? Like would y'all do Nowruz? Would you and did you speak Farsi in the house? What was all that like?
Oh, yeah, I should mention my mom was, the Persian, also Nazi. Like, she was very, very, very difficult very, very hard on me about speaking Persian at home, especially when I was a kid. I wasn't allowed to, like, even think in English. Um, and then, yeah, I think I always listened to Gugush, and I always listened to, like that was something that really kept me tied to being Iranian, is how much I loved Persian, like, I loved Gugush, old school 70s Gugush, you know? Um, and yeah, we did Nowruz. It wasn't, like, as big a deal as, like, I try to make it now at all with my mom. She was kinda like, "Oh, yeah, it's Nowruz, we gotta do the Nowruz thing," you know? It wasn't like she didn't make it a big deal. Um, but we'd always go to the markets and, you know, it was the culture that you know, it's the food, it's the music, it's the traditions, it's the esfand every day, it's the noon chai paneer for breakfast. It's, you know, it's like it's these things that keep it in your life every day.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. You
Right,
can't
right,
rid
right.
yourself of those things, you know?
So then now you have a kid of your own. Do you ascribe to your mom's rigid just speaking like what do you do?
Okay, so I'm super ashamed of it, but I think it's everybody kind of just knows their kid. My kid wants to communicate so badly, Layla. It's like since he was 5 months old, he was like, "Mama." Like, he wants to communicate.
Yeah.
He's a talker, he's a babbler. So, because my husband doesn't really speak Persian with him at all, and we don't speak Persian with each other, so I was really fighting and only reading him Persian storybooks and being very strict about it, but then I realized this kid just wants to talk, so let's just let him talk in English at first, you know, like, so now I just speak to him in one language, but then there are certain words and certain things that I like, he calls water "ab." He just realized that "ab" and water are the same things recently. You know, "gul" instead of flower. Like, there's just certain words that are easier in Persian that I teach him, um And I know he's going to speak Persian. I'm going to be very strict about him speaking Persian later. But right now, he's 17 months old, and I'm just like, let the kid talk. He wants to talk so bad.
Yeah. So then what does your mom do? Does she speak only Persian with him?
She speaks Persian, yeah.
Okay.
She speaks Persian. So he'll understand.
All right. Just wondering. Because, yeah, we have, all of our students, a lot of them grew up in an Iranian household. And then there's I feel like no parent can do it right because they're so resentful that their parents didn't force them to speak.
Yeah.
But then I think maybe if you're in that situation, you're just like, I just want to communicate with my parent. Who knows? Who knows what the right answer
I'm
is?
gonna make sure he learns Persian though. It's not like that I don't want him to, or I don't know. I feel so I learned German. Sorry, I decided to eat a cookie
Oh.
at a really inopportune time. Um, I learned German when I was 13,
Oh, wow.
and my German's not perfect, but it's pretty good. Like I can watch a movie and understand pretty much everything in the movie, and I can get by. So I really do believe that there are just people that are better at languages and will just pick it up, especially if they're exposed to it enough. And I'm hoping, I guess I'm just playing the lottery that he's one of them because, I feel like he'll pick it up and eventually I'll put him in the Persian school and I'll do the thing,
Right.
he'll watch the Cheyenne conversation programming,
Kids program that's
kids
coming.
program that's coming.
Okay,
So,
good.
I'm not that worried about it, to be honest. Should
No.
I be?
No, I think you're right. I think you're right. But now let's get to your current project. So, if you haven't seen, Tara for the past 2 or 3 months has been putting out this fantastic series. Can you tell us the title? And by the way, how many times did you have to practice or have to re-record that introduction? Because I love that introduction. It's so good. Every time I watch it, I'm like, just the close up and the Fuzuli. It's so good. I love
Wow.
it.
Okay, should I start from the beginning? Should I tell the
Yeah.
spin-off story?
Yes. Tell me yes.
Okay, so the show is called Foozooli. It's a nosy look into the life of various Iranians. That's our
Yeah.
tagline. And so there's two parts to it. So the first part is I'm good friends with Sina Valiola, who is Persian Jimmy Kimmel. He's, just this brilliant, hilarious, satirical writer. And yeah, I love him a lot. So Sina has been saying to me for years, you need to make something, you need to make something, you need to produce something. Like, well, what are you doing? And I would just like come up with ideas and tell them to him, come up with ideas. And he always, he's very honest as a person. And he was always like, nah, I'm not gonna ask or whatever. He'd always shit on my ideas.
Okay.
And then not shit on them, but like be like, no, that's not gonna work. I'm like, okay, great. So I had this idea to go as my characters, as all my different characters into the homes of different celebrities.
Okay, kind of like Bruno slash what a Borat style like that. Okay.
Exactly, Sacha Baron Cohen style.
Okay, yes, there you go.
And he was like, "Okay, yeah, that seems like a lot of work though. I don't know." And then I was telling my someone in Iran, someone very close to me in Iran about it, and she was like, "Well, Iranians are super fuzul. So even if you just go into the homes of Iranian celebrities, they'll be excited that you're going into their homes because they're fuzul and
Wow.
what everyone's house looks like."
Wow.
And I was like, "Huh, interesting." So
Ah.
I had this idea. I'm like, what if I just went and did Fuzuli in the home just as myself into the homes of different people? Cena's still like 10% shot on the idea, but he was like more open to it than other ideas. He
Okay.
didn't.
Okay.
He's always like, okay, 뭐를 çıkar, 뭐를 çıkar.
Yeah.
So, and then he agreed. Like he always said, if it's good, I'll put it on the show. I'll incorporate it just as a way. He's a very supportive person of the Iranians. So I then pause this story and then we'll go back in time again, even before all of this.
Okay. And at this point, were you did the name was Fuzuli?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, Fuzuli. And what else are you going to call it?
Amazing. Okay.
Foozoling with Tara is what I was going to call it in English.
Okay.
Before all of this, I was at a spin class, which if you know me, you know I actually don't exercise. But I happened to exercise this once. And after the class, this guy, this is 7 o'clock in the morning too, by the way. This guy comes up to me and he's like, "Are you Tara Grammy?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh my God," to everyone in this room. "She's a Persian legend, you guys." And his girlfriend was there and he was like, "Ari, this is Tara. She's so funny. And I was just so embarrassed. I was like, "No, thanks, man." And he was like, "I'm a photographer. I'm a director. I want to get into."
Were you very sweaty at this point?
Okay, so weird thing about me is I actually don't sweat.
Okay, but were you like your hair back and like
Yeah,
in
I
workout
looked
clothes?
like crap,
Okay.
like
Okay.
just
and,
a
and then
disaster.
was everyone in class impressed?
No, they all just were like,
Okay,
it's a little bit early.
this is my Fuzuli. These are things I want to know. Okay,
No,
go
I
on.
love it.
Go
No,
on.
everyone else was like, okay.
I was wondering if they like dropped everything. They were like, "Oh my God."
No, no,
Okay.
no. I wish. I don't know if, yeah, they couldn't have cared less, actually.
Last question. His girlfriend, was she impressed?
Yeah, she's so sweet.
Okay. Okay.
She's like the same, like, adorable, hilarious energy as him, which was really
Okay.
sweet.
Awesome.
So his name's Shah. He's like, "My name's Shaheen Kiani, and I have a studio. I'm in Silver Lake, like really close to me." So I was like, "Okay, yeah." I didn't really think anything. And then I followed him on Instagram, and I really liked all of his work. He's kind of quirky and weird and funny, and I was like, maybe I'll do headshots with him. So I hung out with him one day at his studio, and he took some pictures, and then we just stayed in touch. And then when I had this idea, I was like, well, who would I do it with? And I was like, I want someone like fun who like will make it fun, I don't want it to feel like work. And I just remembered him and I'm like, I wonder if he'd even be into it, whatever. And he was so excited about it. I've realized this about myself, Leyla. I like people who get excited about things. I don't like people
Right.
that are too cool or too good for things.
Right.
I like dorky people who don't care, like showing how they feel, loving something, hating something. Like, I like that. And he's totally that. He's just like a big, boisterous, hilarious guy. So, and he is really big too. He's really tall too, which is awkward, but hilarious.
Ah.
So we're like Laurel Hardy vibes. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so, and his girlfriend's even smaller. His fiance now is even smaller than me. It's really
Okay.
cute. Anyway, so that was a weird caveat. Anyway, so we were like, I was like, okay. So I reached out to the greatest human that's ever lived, Maz Jobrani.
Yeah.
And I was like, Maz, will you be our first guest? And we went in not knowing anything. Maz was like, you can't come to my house because it's under construction. So I worked with this
Oh.
other photographer, Storm Santos, who's an incredible photographer. And him and I became friends. And he was like, oh, I love Maz. Why don't you shoot it at my house? And I was like, okay. So
Oh.
it just all fell into place. And then
Wow, okay.
We did Shelley's episode. And then Shelley's episode was so funny that when I sent it to Sina, he's like, you need to make this your first episode and then get people hyped up so they want to watch Maz next. So we made Maz our second episode, and then they were both 5-minute segments, but then all of the comments were like, this was way too short. So we made it like 10 to 15 minutes. And then
Amazing. And I loved before you put it out, because we know Instagram comments, everybody has an opinion. Everyone says, do it like this, do it like that. And you just said, I'm making this longer. If any of you complain, I will kill you. I thought that was really good.
that's exactly what my vibe is.
Did anybody complain? Is anybody like, it's too long?
No.
Okay.
Everyone thinks it's too short still.
Yeah. Well, that's good. You're going to have to go back to Shawli's and do like a longer episode too.
I think what we're gonna do is go back and just also take out all of like, because there's a lot of bloopers. Like, we have hundreds of hours of footage of just me and these poor people, like, just being so funny and inappropriate. And because I don't care anymore, this is another thing that's happened, Layla. I don't care anymore what the audience.
Since what? Anymore, like after what?
I think after having a kid. Does that happen after you have a kid?
Maybe. Yeah. You kind of cut out the bullshit.
Yeah. I don't have time. I don't really care that much what people think or how people perceive me like I used to.
Yeah. So what about this like concept of Fuzuli though? Like it's kind of, I mean, when Iranians say Fuzuli nakon, Fuzuli kardi, Fuzul, it's a very negative thing. So why did you want to highlight this topic?
'Cause it's so like human nature. It's human nature asking questions, being curious about other people's lives. It's not just an Iranian thing. I think Iranians, a large part of our culture is being in each other's business. And I do always like to put up a mirror to the Iranian community and be like, let's look at ourselves for a second, you know? I don't like to always be like, our culture is the greatest culture in the world. Because no, we can actually be really shitty people too. Like it's not, you know. But also, I think it is human nature. One of my friends is Jamaican, and she was like, "Please don't say this is Iranian culture because this is also Jamaican culture." Like, I watch these episodes and I enjoy it, you know? And I have other friends from different like my white friends, my American friends love it. So I think it is not I don't think it's just a uniquely Iranian thing. I think it is human nature to be curious.
Right. So I'm on this like group thread with a few Iranian friends, not knowing that we were having this conversation this week. Someone sent your show in the group.
That's so cute.
I know. I was like, I'm talking to her this weekend. I want to read you this text that a friend sent, and then they followed it up by sending a link to your show. It says, there's this park by my house, and there's this somewhat older than us Irooni lady that we've run into there. I kind of hate it when we see her because I just want to enjoy my playtime, and she's so fuzul. I told her we are moving, and she asked what we pay in rent. And when I said we bought, she asked how much. She was asking so many personal questions. I was dying because I've been kind of watching the Tara Grammy Fuzuli series on IG. Anyway, she got my phone number as we left. This is the show I'm talking about. And then she linked to your show. So I thought that was really funny.
That's really funny.
A
That's
personal
really
connection. And I think there is something, you're right, it is a like cultural thing in a lot of different cultures, but there are some cultures that are just more like fuzul in this way than others. Well, I would venture to say like maybe German culture is like that. You know, there's like a certain like propriety and like, okay, this is my home, like this is my life, like
not in our culture, Leyla, not that one at all. No, it's there's a certain type of Iranian person. Um, I'm not gonna generalize, but usually, okay, I'll generalize. They're a little bit older, maybe female, I don't know. And they just want to know what's going on. You know? They want to know. They want to know where you got your coat and how much it was and who does your hair and, you know, how much you pay for things and how much things were. They'll ask you things like, why did you I don't know, did you get your nose done, and who does you know, like, things like that that are super inappropriate, and that's why I decided so before every episode, I actually ask the guest to think of the fuzul things that and each of them have one, you know, the rude or fuzul things, poor rude things people have said to them, and I incorporate it into the episodes, yeah.
interesting. Okay, and I think as the show's evolving, like I think like the tone has changed more, like you've become like more comfortable with like what you're doing and it's I love like every episode just cracks me up. When we started this call, I was watching your latest episode with Nosy Noor and I was it's really really good. So we'll link to the show on this on the show notes and everyone go watch all the episodes. I think in general in Iranian spaces too, like thankfully there's like more podcasts coming out, more people like talking to each other, but all of these type of things that like build connection with us, I think are just so wonderful.
I
So I
agree.
applaud you for what you're doing. I'm very
Thank
excited to see
you,
where it
thank
goes.
you.
But I also have a question of like when you first announced it, in general right now, like there's so much going on. The women life freedom movement has died down a little bit, but there's like constant things happening in Gaza and happening in now like the political upheaval in the United States. Like this is a lighthearted show at its essence, right? So then how do you feel about that? Like how do you feel about having a show like this, even like posting when something like horrendous has happened? How do you how do you kind of think about that?
Well, like when the LA fires happened, I was supposed to post Zoya's episode and I asked her, I'm like, what do you think? And she was like, can you hold off a week? And so I did, and I'm really glad I did because it was so devastating. And I don't I think, yeah, I think there's a way to be respectful of what's happening in the world, but I also don't believe that I don't want to just keep portraying my people as badbacht and as, I don't want to keep up the constant how hard life is. I want to find the joy and find the moments of levity because I think life is both. So I don't know. Try to navigate it intuitively, and luckily, yeah, I work with. We talk. I talk to Shaheen a lot too, and he grew up in Iran, and we talk a lot about when it's appropriate, when it's inappropriate, and yeah, it's both. We are both as a culture, and if we just focus, and those people that are like این مرده اون مرده چرا میخندین, it's like bro, like you can't just, and it's not that I don't honor those people. Like I'm wearing hadiths today on my shirt. And I was wearing it earlier and I was like, should I change it? And I was like, no, I love, like she's such a, like I feel like my family member was lost when Hadis died. I feel like, when I think of those girls and when I think of the woman life freedom movement and everything we all went through, it was such an insane time. It was such a heartbreaking time. And I say we all went through cautiously because we didn't go through anything. We were here in the West. We were just trying to amplify the voices of the people in Iran for the most part. Most people were. Some people decided to use it for their own uh, gain, but that's a whole other conversation for another day. Or a conversation me and Leyla will have on our own.
Yep.
Anyway,
You haven't been silent on all the political stuff either. Like you've been very vocal about political. So how do you navigate that as well?
again, not caring what people think. Again, not care. I know who I am. I know what I stand for, and I don't care. Like people have called me all kinds of things. People who know me and people who followed me for a long time, and people who are like-minded people who just, will understand and appreciate my work, and other people won't, and that's okay. I know who I am, I know what I stand for, I know that, I want nothing more than the freedom of the people of Iran, the freedom of people facing oppression anywhere in the world, and that's who I am, and that's who I'll always be, so call me whatever you want.
And so what about the future of Fuzuli? Like where do you think it's gonna go? Are you gonna make them longer? Is it gonna live on YouTube? Is it where is this going?
Leyla, help. So different networks, a couple of Iranian networks have reached out to me to possibly work together, but I don't know. I really like being an independent producer. I like doing this just me and Shaheen. I like that we do it our way. We can be as progressive as we want. We can have whoever we want on there.
Oh, let's go back to the story of you've told me this, but how did you get Sam Asghari on there? Mr. Britney Spears.
Mr. Britney Spears. First of all, is an angel. The kindest, sweetest guy. Like,
Is he like a person though? Like were you able to like break
yes.
through and okay,
Oh, yeah.
because he's so like I feel like he's guarded even on your show, like he is guarded. And like his
He's
New
a
York
guarded
Times
guy.
article, they're like, talk to us about this. He's like, no. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But he's a human being.
He's such a human being. He's like,
Okay.
he loves his family. He talks about his mom and his sisters constantly.
Wow.
He's this like, I don't know how to describe it. I feel like he's like my cousin or something, like just like an angel. Like, can I get you something? You know, just so aga, so classy. Like, I told him in the middle of all of it, I was like, I just want you to know, like, I think you're so cool that you didn't exploit the situation that you were in. Like,
Right.
he never says a bad word about anybody. It's all,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, there is a level of calculated, but it doesn't feel bad that, you
Mm.
know, it feels like it's just who he is and he doesn't want to, he works really hard. He's trying to get his career somewhere and that's what he's focused on and that's who he is. And I really respect him for that.
And how did the episode happen?
Sina, so in the beginning, I was like, Sina, I need your help. No one's actually going to come on this show. So, you know, Sina was like, okay, sure. So he reached out, but he didn't reach out to Sam. I just DM'd Sam and I told him that it's going to be on Sina's show. And he was like, okay. But then he like coordinated it himself. He put me in touch with his
Wow.
manager, but then we coordinated it, him and I, just like, he's like,
Wow.
here's my number, just so down to earth and cool. Um, and I told him, I'm like, I respect, you don't have to say anything about your ex-wife, but I am going to ask you. And he's like, you can ask whatever you want. You can say whatever you want. I was like, okay. It was awesome.
So then tell us what really happened.
Man, he wouldn't say anything to me. But he thought the picture of me and my husband as Sam and as
Yeah.
he'd seen it before. He'd seen it when I posted it
Okay.
for and you know, growing up, I wanted to be Britney Spears, you know, like,
Right, right,
but I also think there's a lot more to that story than we've been told, and
right.
I think it'll come out one day, but
Who is your dream guest for the show besides me?
Gugush.
Oh.
I mean, obviously you.
Okay,
Gugush.
Gugush,
She'll
and have you
never
had any headway into that?
she'll never
Okay.
do it.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I've been to her house one time. Um, oh, it was the level of dream come true is not even okay. Like,
Yeah.
I could have died after that day and I would have been fine. No, I don't think she'd do it, but I think she's also just so amazing that I'm like, why would you ever do a show called Fuzuli? Like, you should be on like, you know, you should only talk to Christian Amanpour. Like, don't talk to me. You know, that's how I feel about Gugush. I'm
Oh,
like,
that
don't
would be a
even.
good one. Christiane Amanpour.
She did a Christian Amanpour
No, no,
interview.
you. Fuzuli with
Oh my God, I would. Do you
Christiane.
know that I saw Christian Amanpour at Portobello Market
No.
in London, and I was like, um, hi. She's like, hello. And I was like, I love you. And like I froze. It's so rare that I freeze, but I froze. The reason I say he is, we talked about Trevor Noah because I was like,
Okay.
I do comedy and I try to be funny. And she's like, I think comedy is such an incredible way to get through to people and especially Iranians. And she started talking about Trevor Noah and Trevor Noah and I have the same management. We're in the same management
Oh.
company. I was like, yeah, Trevor and I were in the same management company. So yeah, whatever. It's not a big deal. I don't care. Like,
Well, cool. Well, I'm excited to see where it goes. So it's been what, 3 months now at this point?
3 months. Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, I want to produce it independently. We need to get funding because there's no way that Shaheen and I can keep up with our regular lives and do Fuzuli because we're literally there's no one else that we've had some help from people that have just come on and like this guy Ariane, he shot the Sam episode because Shaheen couldn't, and you know we've had some help here and there, but we want to have like a couple more people on our team that we choose, you know, and we want to be able to travel to do these episodes because like I'd love to come to Austin, like you would be like such a cool episode for us, you know, and I'd love to go to New York and do Ariane Wyatt. I'd love to go to London and Dubai and Istanbul and Toronto and all these places where cool Iranians live.
Oh, I love it.
We need to get a budget, so that's kind of what we're working on right now. We're taking a little break. We did 9 episodes for our first season, and then we'll start back up and hopefully someone will give us money.
Okay, good. And yeah, everyone watching, we again will link to the show
Yes.
on the show notes to YouTube. And you can
Yes.
also follow Tara on Instagram, and that's where she posts all the shorts and the full episodes now, which is great because then you don't even have to leave the app. You just watch it right there. So it's really good.
Yeah, I decided because people in Iran have an easier time getting on Instagram than YouTube.
Oh,
And even
interesting.
though
Okay.
it doesn't make sense for me to do it because financially you make money on YouTube, not Instagram, but I don't
Right.
care. So I
Right.
just leave it on YouTube for a week and then I put it on Instagram because I want people in Iran to easily be able to watch it.
Okay, perfect. And do you feel like the comments, like the Fuzul comments on the show have changed? Like, how has the reception been from people? And is it mainly Iranians watching or the diaspora?
Yeah, it's actually a lot of Iranians watching, and I think it's mostly Tehran and Mashhad or something, like some like Tehran, Mashhad, and Shiraz, and then the US. There's a lot in the US too, and Canada. It's got a pretty wide audience. It's crazy.
Cool.
I never thought that Fuzuli would be this. I really didn't. Me
Yeah.
and Sean really didn't. It just like everywhere I go now, no, everyone's like, "Oh my God, Fuzuli!" I'm like, "I'm sorry, Granny. Thank you so much."
That's amazing. No, I think it's wonderful to like have the chance to see into people's homes and connect the diaspora to the Iranians in Iran that way as well. So there can be a season in Iran even. That would be amazing.
Inside Evin prison.
Oh God. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now I'm gonna switch gears a little bit and let's talk about for people who don't know too much about your experience, like what was your experience of the woman life freedom movement? What were you doing? Where were you?
I was at a wedding in Spain, and a friend of mine had her phone and she was looking at a picture of a girl on a ventilator in Iran. And I was like, "What are you looking at? Like, what is this on your phone? Like, don't look at this. You're at a wedding." And she's like, "You don't understand. If this girl dies, it's going to be bad." And I was like, "Huh?" She's like, "Her name's Massa." And she kind of told me the story. And I was like, "Okay." Like, I didn't even really think anything because we were literally at a wedding. So I was like, "Okay, that's sad." And then it's kinda stayed on my mind though, and I was like, "The morality police what?" Like, I kinda but we were at literally one of my kindergarten best friend's wedding. So, then we got home, and the next morning I woke up, and we were going to, Portugal, my husband and I, for, like, an extent like, a little trip, and my phone was I just couldn't believe my eyes, and then at that point I had a bit of a following. So was just reposting things and my DMs were I think Iranians in Iran just started to send videos of the protests to anyone with a platform. So I was one of those people and my DMs were insane. Videos of people getting shot out, videos from people who were just sending them to me from their phones. And I would repost them and I would write and I just started to get really involved in it, and then my poor husband was like, "I just hung out with the top of your head for the first, like, day that we were in Portugal." And then I had lunch with him, and he was like, "Look, if you" he's like, "I want you to be intentional about this because you're not an activist. You know, you're not an activist, and that's not what you stand like, that's not who you are, you know, not what you stand for, but more like that's just not who you are. Um, so what's your intention here?" And he made me, like, really think about it. And he's like, "I want you to set an intention, and I want you to follow through with just that intention." And I said, "I want to just be a voice, just be a platform for all Iranians and all I because I'm like, I'm not scared. I have nothing to be scared of. They can't get to me. So I wanna be a place where Iranians that are scared can and then I posted that and I said, "If you're scared to post anything, think of my platform as your platform and I'll post it for you." So then I got, like, so many messages, and I got asked to speak at this school, and, I wrote a speech about Sarina and Nika and Hadis. who had died, who were the same age as some of the girls in the school. It was a girls' school.
Wow.
And then that kind of went viral, that speech, because I just posted it because I was like, whatever, people watch it. And then Maz Jobrani had me go to another school that he was talking to with him, and I did a speech about Kian and taught these kids about kind of human rights and what that means and how kids their age are losing their lives because of human rights violations by the Islamic Republic. And so anyway, I it kind of just snowballed and I kept and then I wrote an article for Harper's Bazaar about growing up and the woman life freedom movement, and I did more speeches, and it just became like a thing that I was just using my voice to talk about what it is to be Iranian and to teach younger people about um the situation in Iran.
And at this point, like, when was the last time that you actually went to Iran?
2010.
Okay, so it's been a long time. And then once you did this, like, you did it with the knowledge that you just can't go back.
I mean, I didn't go back after Mahmoud because once
Okay,
Mahmoud kind of blew up, Mahmoud
gotcha.
got yeah, Mahmoud was published and then it was nominated for like the Canadian version of a Pulitzer. It's called
Ah,
a
okay.
Governor General's Award. Yeah. And it got a lot of accolades. So my
And it was a
mom,
political piece.
no, it's very much
Okay,
about the social, very much a social piece, but you can't be Iranian and not political. You just can't. It's part
right,
of who we are. It's part of the fabric of our being is the politics of our country.
right.
So there's in the ending is very political, and they aired it on BBC Persia, and
Oh, wow.
yeah, and his name is Mahmoud and he's the same age, the main character, as Ahmadinejad, and that was my whole point. What if Ahmadinejad had left? Would his life had been like? Anyway, it's the whole thing. So already my mom was like, غلط
If
کردی میخوای بری ایران. And then, yeah, and then I kept doing
if Ahmadinejad had left and followed his love of American basketball, where would we be now? If he'd just like gone to
he would have been someone's amu.
Yeah, so then just like briefly, what happened to the movement? You're in LA right now. Like, what happened to the women life freedom in LA? What the fuck, LA? What is going on there? Sorry. I think it's the first time I've dropped an F bomb on this podcast, but it's a good time to do it. What is going on
I
in
mean, there's no other word for it, in all honesty. Yeah, I think unfortunately what happened, it really breaks my heart because there was a moment when I went to in DC where the coalition, remember the coalition?
Yes, I remember the that was very exciting.
And I was there and I was looking up and I was like, we can change the world. We can change our country. We just need to like accept each other and
It was a
understand each other.
really amazing 30 minutes. It really
It was so powerful. And I have a video of it that I posted, and it has million it's like 5 million views or something, but I won't take it down even though because it just feels so every time I watch it, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, remember? Like, yeah, did it." Like, that's how I feel.
yeah.
Um, but unfortunately, we have a lot of healing to do as a community, especially the older generation. There's a lot of trauma healing that needs to happen. There's a lot of we just don't know how to be united and accepting and tolerant of people with different beliefs. And that's part of a huge cultural problem that we have.
So do you think there's any hope moving forward? What is your hope for the diaspora?
My hope for the diaspora is that everyone goes to therapy, but that won't happen. I don't really care. I don't really care. I only care about the cool people in the diaspora that are progressive and I don't mean like lefties. Do you know what I mean? There's lots of people who have more conservative beliefs who are progressive people who want to move away from the antiquated thinking of their families, of their moms and dads, you know? Um, I've learned in my old age to be tolerant of people having differing opinions from my own and still accept them and respect them. But unfortunately, that's what we lack in our community. And there's no way that anyone in the diaspora can do anything for Iran. There just isn't.
Mhm.
Um, the only people who can help Iran are Iranians inside of Iran, and all we can do is be voices for them and support them and give them resources if we can. Like that's it. That's it. That's my view of woman life freedom is it has to come from within. It has to come from someone who's lived in Iran their whole lives and knows who Iranian people are today. Unfortunately, we are also, as a community, very attached to the nostalgia of before the revolution, which is I understand that too, and I have a lot of empathy and compassion for people who live and yearn for that time because it was ripped away from them in such a traumatizing way. But the truth is the world is different now. Iran is different now. Iranian people are different now, and we have to move forward, not back. So that's my opinion of it, and it's not that I don't support. I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying I don't support a Shah. I'm not saying I don't support I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying if it's what the people of Iran want, then I want it for them. That's it.
Tara Jun, is there anything else that we haven't covered that you want to have on this first episode? I mean, Tara will be, as a friend of the show, will be on in many different ways in the future as well. But for this episode, is there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
I just want to talk about how awesome you are, Leyla. I want to talk about you and your
Aww.
work and how my husband learned Persian from you and
Aww.
my kid's going to learn Persian from you and how you are just such an important member of our community with the important work that you do in teaching people Persian, but also with these podcasts and how cool and down to earth and progressive you are. And it's truly like an honor to know you and call you my friend. And oh no, it made me cry.
Oh, Tara Jun. That is so
And I'm
sweet.
dead inside. So you know that's like something. No, I
Yeah.
just think you're incredible and I'm just such a big fan of everything that you do. And I just wish that more people like you and hope that more people like you start to create for our community.
Well,
So
likewise, Tara Jun, you've always been a big inspiration, and I'm so happy to call you my friend too. We have very similar life stories and
weird.
similar. I loved what you said about working with people that are excited about things. I think we get excited and then we do it because you
Yeah,
don't have to ask anybody for permission. If there's anything I want to end this episode on, like learn from Tara. You don't have to have it. Go be Fuzul. Go use your Fuzuli. It's in your blood. Go use that Fuzul spirit and make things. Whatever you think should be in the world, go make it.
totally. I
And
100% agree.
also, if there's a 7 a.m. spoon class and you just really don't want to go, just know you should maybe go. You might meet your next amazing work partner in that class. That's another
Totally.
PSA. I have not been to
Totally.
spin, but now I'm totally going.
I'm still not gonna go anymore because I already found Shaheen, so we're good.
Yeah, it's
But
fine.
yeah, we're good.
All right, Tarajin, thank you so much for joining. And
Thank
again, to
you.
see Tara, I think Instagram is the best place to see exactly what she's doing, and then YouTube, and we'll link to all of that on the show notes.
Thank you. Thanks,
Yes,
Sayla June.
say hi to that little boy of yours, and
Thank you.
hope to see you
Hi to your.
soon.
See you soon. Mwah.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.